Alright guys, we've got 4 big hidden JRPGs that could be revealed soon based off of things that are happening, and I wanted to go over each one, where the information is coming from, and when they could be revealed. So let's go ahead and jump right into the first game. We're going to start with Final Fantasy Tactics. This recently got some new information from very credible sources. Now, it's not just apparently Final Fantasy Tactics, the PlayStation 1 game. It's a remaster of the PS1 strategy RPG epic that many still feel is the go or best strategy RPG of all time, because it actually holds up really well even if you go back and play the PS1 version of the game. So the information comes from Jason Schreier, Bloomberg report. He has stated that, quote, "It's real and happening." He provided this update on the Gaming and Leaks subreddit a few days ago, and it looks like it's going to be a thing. Now, if you remember, Final Fantasy Tactics was already leaked apparently as far back as 2021, I guess in the Nvidia leak, so it looks like it's coming back in some way, shape, or form, but we just have to wait and see when that actually happens. Now, why are people excited for Final Fantasy Tactics? Well, it's like I alluded to before, the game is absolutely incredible. So even though it's a PS1 game, getting a remaster with some nice updates to it would greatly enhance the value of this game and make a game that's already incredible and just even that better. Now, they did Tactics Ogre Reborn, which was awesome. That reviewed really well. Don't know how the sales went, but I'm guessing they were okay. I don't know exactly how, but I'm guessing they're okay. But if they brought back this one with Final Fantasy Tactics, I guarantee you that it'll do much better than what Tactics Ogre Reborn did. Now, Square Enix had a complete retooling of their whole base of operations in terms of how they get things done, what they want to do, where they're going to bring games to in terms of aggressively pursuing multi-platform. However, it's broken down into HD, or the biggest AAA games, and then what they call ST, or the AA games and other titles. Now, if you want a refresher on that, I'll have a link to a video where you guys can go over everything there. But essentially what Square Enix wants to do is they want to bring their biggest IPs multi-platform to everything. They don't want to be doing this secular stuff that they did before, where it's kind of exclusive here and then kind of exclusive there and only on one platform here and there. Big IPs like Final Fantasy, big IPs like Dragon Quest and Kingdom Hearts, they do want to make sure that they're on multiple different platforms, but it's also the type of game as well. Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered probably isn't a AAA game for them, but it's a AAA IP. So I would expect this one to be multi-platform, and we could potentially see it being announced at the upcoming June Nintendo Direct. And why is that a good spot for it? Well, because it's a strategy RPG, old school game. Stuff like this has sold incredibly well on Nintendo's platform over the past number of years, so it makes complete sense to announce it there. Now, it wasn't announced at the Summer Games Fest. It wasn't announced at the Xbox show. It wasn't announced at anything else so far that we've had. So I think that a Nintendo Direct would make a lot of sense for this game and other games that we're going to talk about. But before we get into those other games, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. But let's go ahead and move into the next game here, and that is Suikoden I and II HD Remaster. This is a title that was announced some odd years ago, and it was supposed to come out, and then it got delayed, and there has been radio silence since then. So what is happening with Suikoden I and II HD Remaster? Well, I do feel that they are prepping for an announcement for this game, and if you look at the type of game that it is, an old school JRPG PS1 era. We've seen the Euden Chronicle game come out and have some success, but that's pretty much copying what Suikoden I and II is or supposed to be. This is the original games with a lot of the developers that are working on that game that worked on this game before. So what can we expect from it from a quality perspective? Well, I think that the fact that the game got delayed obviously shows a little bit overall in terms of what they're trying to do, but the presentation of the game is going to be so important because this is not an easily marketable type of game, and it's not like Suikoden is one of the biggest franchises out there. It's not like it's Final Fantasy or it's anything like that, which we already know. So I think that presenting this when it comes to an old school PS1 remaster. It's very important. Old school remasters have to be done right. The presentation and when they actually show it off has to be done really good for people to kind of jump on board if you want to get the same type of audience that are playing stuff like Triangle Strategy or playing Octopath Traveler 1, Octopath Traveler 2, Live Alive, these type of games. It's got to be done in a way that people are excited about. Now, we did have a game like Tactics Ogre Remaster come back, old school games, Super Nintendo, PSP, whatever the case is, and we've had multiple other old school remasters come back and have success to varying different types of degrees. And I think that if we want to see Suikoden have a future at some point, they've got to nail down the presentation and what they do with this game, the quality of life features, how remastered is it? Because the last thing that you want is a Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 type of situation to where, yeah, they brought the games back, but it was missing the voiceover when it comes to English. It was missing quite a number of different things that people would have wanted to see in terms of the quality and presentation of bringing it back. Yeah, there's definitely updates and everything, and it's not bad, but you definitely want to make sure that it's a little bit better in terms of what they do for bringing back a classic game. Now, we have had some great examples like Star Ocean: The Second Story R that's come back, and that is a full HD 2D remaster, remake, whatever you want to call it, and it's fantastic. So I do feel that there's a lot of potential in old school JRPGs, especially in the PS1 era, where those are all just sitting there, either ported over on older systems or just not at all, and they are ripe for the picking to come back. So I think that we could see a good quality of Suikoden 1 and 2 HD remaster, and maybe it shows up at the upcoming Nintendo Direct. And I do feel that the Nintendo Direct is a good fit for it, because if you think about it, this type of game has done very well on Nintendo platforms, and it's probably the type of game that you'd love to be able to take anywhere that you want. So making sure that they have a good Nintendo Switch version, I think is going to be very important, and showing it off at a Nintendo Direct would be great. Now, we have not, once again, just like a lot of the other games that we talked about here, at least third-party titles, they haven't shown up. Not at Summer Games Fest, not at the PlayStation event State of Play, not at the Xbox Showcase. So the Nintendo Direct seems to be one of the last places if they want to get their game out this year, or at least if they want to have like a big splash beforehand, this would be one of the last places to show it off and get some good eyes in front of it. So I think that the Nintendo Direct, because of the style of game that it is, and it's a show that's upcoming, I think that could be a spot that we finally see the return of Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster, and I'm hoping that they really took their time to make sure, especially with that delay, that they took their time to make sure that everything was top notch when it comes to the presentation, the quality of the remaster, the presentation, the quality of life features, the additions and updates, retain that original feel, but then also bring it forward so people can play it in the modern day, and it's great on all platforms that it's released. Now let's go ahead and jump into the next game here, guys, and that's going to be the Final Fantasy IX Remake. This game has some more information that I want to go over. There was another leak. Now, this game was originally leaked on the Nvidia leak a number of years ago, I think like back in 2021, but now we have something else that shows us that this game is actually real. So this comes from Gaming Bible, but many other sites reported on it, and they stated that the source of the leak comes from the Epic Games Store database. So although this can be considered pretty solid proof, it still cannot be seen as an official confirmation by the developers, which obviously goes hand in hand. But now we have two separate database leaks when it comes to the Nvidia leak, and now when it comes to the Epic Games Store database leak. And I think it's one of the worst kept JRPG secrets that Final Fantasy IX is getting a remake. But what we don't know is the quality and what they're going to do with this remake. Now, the game originally on the PS1 is out on pretty much every single platform, and it's fantastic. It holds up incredibly well. I like it a lot. I talked about it recently in a big 30 must-buy Nintendo Switch JRPG video that I did on this channel. It's still that good. It's still better than a lot of modern RPGs that release in today's day. However, a remake could address a number of quality of life things, and of course presentation-wise, to get a new audience playing it, and of course get the same audience to buy it and play the game again, especially if they make some nice updates when it comes to the graphics and the music and the quality of life features. So I think that's where the mysterious nature of this is. Is this going to be a bigger full-end remake, like Final Fantasy VII? Are they going to change up things where it's kind of like a retelling and all that? Or is it going to be more like Trials of Mana? And from what I just personally think, it seems like it's going to be more of a Trials of Mana style remake than a FF7 style remake, which some people still debate whether that's even a remake of the game or not. It's more like a retelling or a reimagining or just a completely new game that uses the characters. I mean, obviously we can debate it all day in terms of what they did in that game, but I don't think Final Fantasy IX is going to be like that. I don't think Square Enix is going to spend the money to make it like that, and I don't think that there's any need to spend those resources in order to have it like that. You can have a game that is probably graphically a bit better than Trials of Mana, that game, but doesn't need to go to the lengths that FF7 Remake did. And I don't think Square Enix is going to, and I don't think Square Enix is ever going to do that again for any of their older Final Fantasy games if they are remaking them. I think they're going to be far more faithful, improve the graphics, quality of life, all of that good stuff, and then maybe even add in some extra things here and there, but I don't think they're ever going to do what they did again, at least not based off of what we've got recently when it comes to FF7 Rebirth. But once again, I think that this is going to be more of a faithful remake of the Final Fantasy IX PS1 game, and we could see it soon. Now, could it be at the Nintendo Direct? Absolutely, it could be. You have this database leak. It's been sitting, I don't know, in development, whatever, for a number of years. And I do feel that Nintendo Direct would be great for this style of game. Once again, you're getting an old school JRPG re-release when it comes to a remake, and those games just do well on Nintendo platforms. So I do feel that we could see it at the upcoming Nintendo Direct, or Square Enix could wait. We do know that Square Enix has went through a lot of reshuffling and retooling when it comes to what they want to do, aggressively pursuing multi-platform development, making sure that their big AAA IPs are going to be on multiple platforms now going forward in the future. So this could be something where they wait and they kind of retool what they want to do in terms of presenting their own games in the future. So we'll see on that one. But either way, FF9 is one of the best games ever made, one of the best JRPGs out there. And absolutely, if this remake hits, I think that it's going to be a really good thing for gamers overall and for new gamers that want to experience Final Fantasy IX for the first time. Now, let's get into the final topic here, guys. And it's a game that people have been begging for when it comes to Switch ports for a very long time, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles X. Is this game going to get a remaster on the Nintendo Switch? Is it going to be safe for the Nintendo Switch 2? Could this be revealed at the upcoming Nintendo Direct? There's so many different questions with this game, and it's really hard to answer because Monolith Soft and Nintendo have not given any hint at this point outside of an interview a number of years ago with Takahashi that stated, yeah, I mean, it would be great if we could do it, but that would be too expensive. Now, the good news with that is that it was a number of years ago. So this was before Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This was before what they did with Future Redeem. This was before a lot of that. So you don't necessarily have the exact picture of where they are right now and what they're doing. Yeah, it would have cost a lot of money before, but now they've gotten more team size, they've released more games, they've got more cash flowing through. So it's a whole different scenario and whole different situation now in 2023, 2024, and going forward when they could be planning something like this, and back in 2019 when they were interviewed or when they talked about this topic. So I do feel that Xenoblade Chronicles X probably is a low chance announcement for upcoming Nintendo Direct and a low chance announcement for 2024, but I still feel that we could get this game. I just don't know if the Switch is going to be the platform now or if it's going to be something to where it's going to be a dual launch and they'll want to push it in terms of looking better and the fidelity and everything a lot more if it was on Nintendo Switch 2, because I've been talking about this game for 3+ years now if it could get remastered and nothing. So that's why the chances of this are definitely lower than what we see with FF9 Remake and what we see obviously Suikoden, that's confirmed. Final Fantasy Tactics a lot lower just because there really hasn't been anything, and we just don't know where Nintendo's at with Monolith Soft when it comes to what they're doing with the Nintendo Switch 2, what their teams are allocated on, who's working on Zelda and Animal Crossing and Splatoon and other stuff that Monolith Soft works on. When it comes down to it, they've been pretty tight-lipped, and there's been no leaks overall with Monolith Soft stuff. Really, there's been nothing too much. So it's absolutely going to be interesting to see what Monolith Soft ends up doing. We did get one great remaster from them with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, and I don't think that's going to be their last one. I think Xenoblade Chronicles X will come. I just don't exactly know how they're going to get it done and what they're going to do once they do announce it, but it's one of those things that we're absolutely just going to have to wait and see on. So what do you guys think about all this here when it comes to the big hidden JRPGs that could be revealed soon or not in some case? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out our other Nintendo Switch and JRPG videos right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.